Welcome back to the Hive Doctor, your beekeeping mentor. It's my job to take the guesswork out of beekeeping for you. Today we're going to talk about how to light a smoker, the best fuel to use to get a smoker lit, and how to keep it going during your work so that it doesn't go out. So stick around. Too often in beekeeping, we fumble along trying to get a smoker lit without success, and it can be frustrating and annoying because you really need to have a smoker lit in order to do a hive inspection, because otherwise when you just rip into a beehive without using a smoker, they can really piss the bees off, and that's not what we want. And then other times we finally get the smoker lit and then it goes out while we're in the middle of work and our hive is open and there are bees flying everywhere and we need it right then. Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to not only light it but to keep it lit so that you don't have to worry about those things. What you're going to need to get your smoker going is some dry fuel, which is what I keep in this can. I recommend that everyone keep some kind of container with dry smoker fuel inside of it. I use longleaf pine needles, and if I can't collect these somewhere nearby, I will buy a bale of this from Home Depot or something. But before you even want to start getting your smoker going, you need to make sure, especially the first time that you light your smoker, if you've never lit it before, that you take the grate out of the bottom of the smoker and make sure that these legs are folded down so that when this sits in the bottom of the smoker, you have an air space underneath. That's how your smoker breathes. Well, that's one way. The other way is the bellows pump air into a breathing tube into the bottom. I'm going to pull that out so you can see it right there. So the bellows breathes into this, air enters this tube and enters the primary chamber of the smoker. This is something that you need to keep clean, and you know if it's clean or not by looking straight through it, and eventually this will build up soot and stuff inside that you'll need to clean out, and a flathead screwdriver works the best in my experience. This one's nice and clean, which means it's going to breathe really well. To put it back, you just have to line it up with the hole. If you have a smoker that did not come with one of these tubes, and it looks like it was just kind of welded on, you have a cheap smoker, and it'll work, but you're going to have a lot more frustration, which is why I recommend to all my students that they get a high quality smoker, even if it means spending more money than you want. It's going to be worth it in the end. So I finally got my breather tube back in place. I'm going to put the grate back in, and you just have to, when you put it in, make sure that these legs don't sit where that breather tube is. You want it to sit flat. Okay, so I've got it in place. The grate is sitting on all four legs, and now it's time to start thinking about getting this smoker lit. The most important thing to do first is to make sure that you're being safe with this. You're playing with fire, literally, and this is just a contained fire. In fact, you don't even want a fire in this other than starting it. This is a smoker, not a flamethrower. So what we're doing is pretty much smoldering a fire in this so it produces smoke for us. But in the beginning, lighting it is the most hazardous possible part of, if you're not being safe, it can get out of control. So when you light a smoker, make sure you do it in an area like the back of a truck, all metal. It's not going to, nothing's going to catch on fire. Don't do it on the ground, in the grass, especially dry grass, dry leaves. A fire can get away from you quicker than you realize. So be responsible first off in choosing an area to light your smoker. If you don't use a truck for your bees like I do, I go from apiary to apiary, and you just have a few hives, try to make a designated area near your bees. Maybe you could put cinder blocks out and light your smoker on top of those cinder blocks, and always have a water source nearby to put it out just in case it does get out of hand. So my point is to be cautious and be mindful that you are playing with fire. All right, so after that, here's some principles to keep in mind when you're lighting a smoker. Now, I'm not going to go over every possible smoker fuel that there is out there. I use pine needles for two very simple reasons. One, they're free, unless you don't have sources and you have to get it from Home Depot, in which case it's affordable. The second reason is that pine needles are resinous and they're automatically flammable, so it's super easy to light. So I always grab a small handful and then I will bend it in half. So now what I've got is a thicker half bundled up of these pine needles, and that's the part I'm going to grasp. And now I have the loose end where there's more air can get in between these pine needles. And when you start any fire and you're trying to get one going, you want air to be able to get in there. A flame will light something smaller easier and faster than it will something thicker. So with that in mind, your smoker should be empty. On your flat, non-flammable surface, and also keep in mind the wind. Wind can make fire get out of control too. So over my smoker, I'm going to light this, and I'm going to bring you closer so that you can see exactly what's going on. Okay, I've got the bundled thick end of the pine needles in my left hand. I'm going to put my lighter underneath the pine needles, and I do have a little bit of wind today, and it's putting my smoker out. So this is a great time to show you how to deal with that. I'm going to use this deep hive body that I have nearby, and I'm going to light it down here out of the wind and get it going, because it's not like I'm under any pressure of doing a video here. All right, so it's going. What you want to do is put that in the canister, out of the wind, fire down, and then put that in, and immediately start pumping the bellows. Now, your other hand should automatically be going for some more fuel. And what you want to do is just place it in there nice and light. You don't want to pack the smoker yet. You want it to have air, and you want the fire to have space to grow. Now keep in mind, though a fire is not our ultimate goal, you do need that flame. You need the heat in the beginning. As you steadily pump the bellows, and you see that you've got a nice white billowy smoke, it's time to push these needles in a little bit further. And if you're worried about burning your hand, use the flat end of your hive tool to push those in, continuing the bellows. See that pace I'm going at? Pump, 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 pump. I'm saying it out loud because the smoke's kind of covering it up. All right, so that's not enough. I don't want this to go out on me while I'm working. So I'm going to put some more in there. And each time I put more smoker fuel in, that fuel will pack the other fuel I've already put in a little bit more. And so things are becoming tighter inside, and that's good. We want a tight, packed smoker, because that means we won't have flames. We're going to have a smoldering fire, because remember, we want smoke. So at this point, there's a trick to get this packed a little bit more. So I use a hive tool and I go around and then I push down. Go around to get those needles, push down, go around, push down, go around, push down. And now I've actually got more room in there. So now that I'm packed more, I want to start pumping this, because when it's packed, it has potential of going out. So as you can see, this is not going to go out anytime soon. So it's time to put more fuel in there, and especially based on the size of your smoker. I have a taller smoker because I need it to last longer, because I work many hives. And this keeps me from having to repack it so often. I'm going to put in a little bit more, and I feel that that's going to be enough. It already feels tight at the touch. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of swirl, spin, pack. Swirl, spin, and pack until all the needles are below the lid, so that my lid will close without any issues. And remember, I'm steadily pumping. And now you have a nice billowy white smoke. So there's some things to consider when you're using a smoker. You see this nice white billowy smoke? It's nice and thick, it's light. That's what you want. That is a cool smoke. The longer this burns, the more of the fuel inside is going to burn up, the grayer this smoke will look. That means two things. One, it's time to repack that if you still have work to do. So in other words, put more fuel in it. And the way you do that safest without burning yourself is to push the bellows in, use your hive tool as a lever to pop that lid, boom, and then it's open. You can go and grab more fuel, stick it in there, bring this down, close your lid, and keep going. The second thing that the gray smoke means, it's more see-through as well. You'll notice it's not nice and billowy. It's very transparent. But what that means is that you've got a hot smoke. That's not what you want, because when you smoke your bees, you're going to be frying them, literally burning them, because that smoke is going to be too hot. So it's important to maintain a cool smoke in a smoker. And after so long of pumping this, there'll be a point where you can put it down, set it on your hive, and go about your work, and that thing will keep smoking for quite a while. Now, something you want to keep in mind when you're done with your smoker and it's time to put it out, there's two things that you can do. You can pop the lid, use the hook end of your hive tool to drag all of what's left inside out into, say, a 5-gallon bucket of water, and to put it out safely. And the other thing you can do is just let it sit outside and slowly burn up on its own. Or you can actually do a third thing I just thought of, and cork it off. Well, you want to stop the oxygen flow from being able to circulate through. The fire will go out after a short amount of time and actually maintain whatever fuel is left in there for you to use next time to start your smoker again. So to just kind of recap, first off, find some dry material to use. Be safe about how and where you're lighting your smoker. Make sure that in the beginning that you're allowing that fire to breathe and that you're giving it a chance to grow as you slowly pack it. And then when it's coming close to being packed, pack everything in there with your hive tool, close the lid, pump those bellows till you feel confident that it's not going to go out and you can get to work. Some things to consider also: if you run out of the easy smoker fuel, you can use leaves and small sticks, break them up, put them in the smoker. And in fact, in cow pastures, I've even used dried up old cow manure. At that point, it actually works really good. Don't worry, I'm not the fresh stuff. Don't touch that. You'll know if it's fresh. That's not the stuff you want to touch. No, don't do that. But definitely be safe and keep some kind of dry smoker fuel in a container nearby that's convenient for you. One thing that works super great, extra tip, is once you get a smoker going, if you don't feel like using more pine needles, pack some pine cones in there. Those will go and last for quite a while because they're nice and thick. You've already got heat going in that smoker, so it's already burning. It's not like you have to start over lighting it or anything. You just need to keep it going. So give it what it wants. Something that's going to burn nice and slow and cool. If you have any questions, comment below. Thanks for watching. Drop me one of these and subscribe. Let all your friends know that you know the Hive Doctor.